Hey y'all, it's Dr. Know-It-All. Look what I woke up to in my inbox this morning. It's Elon Musk retweeting Tesla's posting about Investor Day. It's in less than a month, actually 3 weeks from today as I record this. So wow, super, super exciting. Anyway, so you can see the image. I'm going to go into that more in just a minute. But first of all, I wanted to talk about what Elon said here. It says, Master Plan Part 3, the path to a fully sustainable energy future for Earth will be presented on March 1st. The future is bright, bright enough that we'll have to wear shades, I guess. Anyway, that is, let's just call that an ambitious statement right there. So we're talking about the path to a fully sustainable energy future for the planet is going to be presented on March 1st. Previously, Elon has talked about Master Plan Part 3 being all about massive, massive scale. And you can see the image down here that there is something about something being produced at very large scale. And of course, a really, really cool, looks like some Photoshop thing. I think I could actually make this. If I had the background image, I think I could actually make this image myself, which is kind of cool. Anyway, it's like an embossing sort of thing that they're using in like Photoshop or something. But anyway, it's very, very cool. I really like it. And it kind of fades off into the background, but you can see the Tesla logo and then, of course, the Investor Day and everything. And so anyway, let's take a closer look at this image here. We can see that there is a repeating figure. And if I zoom in, you can see that. And let me move this out of the way. Yeah, so you can see that there's a repeating, sort of figure of stuff happening. And it looked very sort of a cross between organic and mechanical, and it was driving me absolutely bonkers. And much to his credit, Corey, of course, from Monroe Live, he actually just very astutely pointed out that this is an image, and it almost has to be. I mean, if you look at the registration and everything and how close this is, this looks very much like a repeating pattern of a whole bunch of, body side panels from Teslas that is just repeated over and over again. And so we can, again, we can blow this picture up and we can look at it a little bit closer. So, big props to Corey for spotting this almost immediately. By the time I even searched, he had already figured it out. But anyway, you can see they've pixelated it. They've changed the colors and things like that. But the shape is very, very distinct, especially with the sort of highlights, the specular highlights that are coming off the back of the vehicle and how they're different in different conditions. So anyway, the very high degree of likelihood is that is indeed what's happening here. We've got the side panels and we've got the racks that they're stacked on, and you can see those straight lines coming up through here. So anyway, that is likely what we've got going on here. And if we back off, you can see it looks really cool. I actually thought it might have something to do with batteries or something like that at the beginning, but it makes more sense that it's that. And again, if we go back to Elon's tweet here, it's a fully sustainable path. And like I said, as he had tweeted earlier, this is all about massive, massive scale. So what we're looking at here is just lots and lots and lots of Tesla side panels. So some of the massive scale, and this may be a hint that the Tesla Model Tau or Model 2 or Model Pi or whatever the heck this thing's going to be called could be actually announced on March 1st. That might be what they're talking about. It could, of course, be the Model 3 as well, the new Highland version of the Model 3, and they could be announcing that in conjunction with the Highland redo of the Tesla factory into a much more efficient factory that can churn out vehicles at a lower production rate. I still think that is probably the safe bet at this point, because again, if they introduce a vehicle that, let's say, is going to retail for $25,000, it costs them like $18,000 to build. That's what Sandy Monroe, if you take half of his Model 3 figure of $36,000 a car to build the car, if you half that, which again, Elon Musk has talked about previously, that would be about $18,000 to build that vehicle. And at that point, you could sell it for somewhere around $25,000, $27,000, something along those lines. Anyway, if they introduce a vehicle that is that inexpensive without it already being in production, basically, so that the wait time is like, let's say 6 months or less, it's just going to completely blow the doors open. Who is going to get a Model 3 or even potentially a Model Y if they could wait a period of time and get this other vehicle? So it seems like an unsafe bet. They might Osborne effect themselves and have significantly reduced sales because people will just want to wait for this other vehicle. But you never know. Elon and Tesla are kind of crazy. They might go ahead and do that. But anyway, given the fact that these are side body panels, Corey didn't identify them whether they were the Model 3 or Model Y. But if they're Model 3 side panels, then you could definitely say that this is an indication electrification, that they're going to talk about the Highland project. And if you haven't seen my video about that, you can actually check that out up there if you're interested. But I took this idea from Connecting the Dots, who did a fantastic video on the topic. Basically, Highland Park was Ford's Model T, like mass manufacturing, their first attempt at that. And it's considered one of, history's greatest achievements to be able to mass manufacture the Model T at the time that they did over 100 years ago. So anyway, the fact that this thing has been codenamed Highland probably means it's more about the factory and reducing costs than it does about any particular brand that they're going to make. So my guess would be that we're talking about the new, lower cost, quicker to manufacture, half as much time, half as much effort to manufacture Model 3, and that the Model Tau is going to be sidelined for a little bit until they actually have it in production already. Now, also there have been images which could potentially be this Model Tau covered up by, by sheets. And so there is the potential that it's out there and it might be further along in development than people think. And maybe Tesla thinks that they can ramp it up fast enough that they won't Osborne affect themselves. I don't know. But anyway, we are looking at something very, very interesting that is going to be happening on March 1st, no matter which thing is announced. And then, of course, the vehicle manufacturer is really only 1/3 of the story. The second third of the story is energy storage, right? If we're going to get to a fully sustainable energy future for the planet, we need energy generation and energy storage. Now, the batteries in vehicles are a great energy storage when they're not being used, so that is a possibility, but we certainly also need solar panels and some advance in that, and some ability to generate those at high volume. And that's something that Tesla definitely has their toes in. They haven't been able to ramp that up as fast as a lot of people were hoping, but between them and the rest of the universe, and especially the Chinese manufacturers, solar panels hopefully will be able to be mass produced at very, very low cost in the very near future. In fact, they already kind of are, but basically, hopefully that will continue to go down and we will see lower and lower costs to generate energy. And then, of course, Tesla's got the storage solutions and they're working very hard to create batteries at scale. So that part, the generation and storage part, is the second leg. And then the third leg of this is, of course, full self-driving autonomy. If we can get to robo-taxi land where these vehicles are able to drive themselves, that is going to reduce the amount of cars needed on the road. It's going to increase labor efficiency because, of course, we will go from being drivers to being passengers, which means that we can, should we choose, work in the vehicle during our commute times and other times on the road. So that will increase labor efficiency. And then, of course, it can reduce the cost of transport. And I actually just did a video on that as well, so you should definitely check that out. Anyway, reduced transport costs, reduced transport energy, increased labor, fewer cars on the road. All of this stuff kind of cycles into the mass scale that's necessary to get the world into a better condition in terms of the amount of energy it's using versus the amount it's generating and how it's generating it. So this should be a pretty exciting day, honestly. I think that Elon Musk is excited finally to reveal Master Plan Part 3. He's been talking about it for over a year, if I'm remembering correctly, which means he's probably been thinking about it for 2 or 3 years. So anyway, it's something that has been long in development, and a lot of people are going to be paying very, very close attention to this. I hope I can manage to snag myself an invite because I'll be there if I can. But anyway, regardless, I will definitely be watching it from home if I can't be in Austin at the time, but fingers crossed I'll get to Austin. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video and found it fun and interesting and thought-provoking. If you did, please do like it so other people can find it. And of course, consider subscribing for more of this kind of content. As always, a huge shout out to my patrons on Patreon. Thank you all so much for your support. I truly do appreciate it. You all make things like traveling to Texas if and when I get a ticket possible. So I thank you very much for the support that allows me to do that. And of course, if you want to join the team, just check out the link in the description. And in the meantime, I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.